Good morning, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and I bring you guys my first deck of Destined Rivals and a personal favorite of mine, Misty's Gyarados. So, if you don't know, this is actually my favorite Pokemon. I made a goal for myself. I wasn't going to make too many Pokemon decks. However, I knew when this deck was revealed, I had to make it because Misty's Gyarados, well, maybe not Misty's herself, but Gyarados is my favorite Pokemon of all time. And now it's a stage 1 deck that's actually really cool and really strong. It feels like a stage 1 Raging Bolt deck, which is a really cool deck, which is really awesome. So the reason why I say it's like Raging Bolt is because of its ability, well, not ability, its attack, Splashing Panic. So this card, the top 7 cards of your deck, this attack does 70 damage for each Misty's Pokemon discarded this way. So Raging Bolt, for every energy you send the grave off a Pokemon, you basically get to do 70 damage. So this is the same thing, except it is milling the deck, and then you're just stacking the deck with Pokemon, with Misty's Pokemon, in order to get big numbers and hit really hard. It's a stage 1 deck, so he's a 1 prizer. He's also just a free summon, so you literally just get Magikarp, slap this thing on top, and it's free to go. He also has the Waterfall attack, which will never come up, which is for two water energy and a colorless energy. It's 120. Really bad attack. We'll never get 3 energy on this thing. We're literally only ever using the Splashing Panic attack, which is pretty awesome. Now, let's actually go into the actual list. So, we're playing, of course, 4 copies of our lovely Gyarados. He is the MVP of his deck. He is the must-have 4 of the deck. Great card, great monster. We're also playing, of course, 4 copies of the Magikarp. Now, the Magikarp, you're looking at his stats, and you're probably thinking, man, 30 HP, this deck's going to get bullied by Dragon Bolt. And you would usually be right. However, he has the ability of So Submerged. And that ability allows him not to be able to take damage from attacks from lovely Dragon Bolt. He is immune to bench damage. Basically, as long as this card is in your bench, prevent all damage from effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. So, even though he only has 30 HP, Dragon Bolt, Wellspring Ogerpon, Greninja, none of those Pokemon can actually hurt him in the bench. Now, I will say, I am not sure how he works with Monkey Dory or Frost Slash. I think those still work on him, which is terrifying because Frost Slash moves 30 damage from your your injured Pokemon to your Pokemon. So they can basically snipe these guys with Monkey Dory, which is horrifying. But luckily, because we are a 1 prize deck that's trying to do 1-shots, hopefully we just don't hit them and leave them a little alive. We just gotta 1-shot them. That's kind of the gimmick of this deck. We just want to spam as many 1-shots as possible, and that's our best bet. I will say this deck is probably really good to decks like Dragon Bolt, and maybe even, well, not Dragon Bolt, Raging Bolt, and like Goldango. However, this deck might be a little scared against Monkey Dory decks that are like the brand new Grimmsnarl and Gardevoir. Let's also talk about the next cards we're playing. We're playing 3 copies of Misty's Starry. This card's pretty cool. Basically has the water attack, which just says, hey, this Pokemon was evolved from Misty's Pokemon this turn. It does an additional 80 damage for 60. So 60 plus 80, if you have none, is 140. If you can't get a KO with Gyarados, the Misty Starry can help you get the extra OTK, which feels really nice. We're also, of course, playing 3 copies of Misty Staryu. This card literally just has the Bubble Beam attack, which is for 1 water energy, 20 damage. Does not help that much. I kind of wish it did 30, so we actually have an answer to Badoo. But whatever, it's pretty okay. And then, of course, we're also, as I move this forward, because I want to make sure we have space for everyone to be seen, we're also playing 4 copies of Misty's Lapras, just because of its Swim Together attack. Basically, it allows you to, for 1 water energy, look for the top 3, look for your deck for 3 Misty's Pokemon, reveal them, put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Helps the deck be way more consistent, especially turn 2. If you have a Misty's Pokemon in your, if you have this in your active spot in your turn 2, you can easily, do your full combo. Then go like Misty's Lapras for water. Get 3 Gyarados and is set up for next turn, which feels really, really strong. We're also playing, of course, Misty's Psyduck. Now, this is what actually makes the whole deck function besides the Gyarados. This is probably the next best card of the whole deck. Misty's Psyduck has the ability Flustered Leap. Basically, it allows itself, if this card is in your bench, you can basically place it into the top of your deck, but you have to mill the bottom card of your deck. Any card attached to this card is discarded, which is actually pretty good. This card is just really, really good. It allows you to set up a really strong Gyarados swing because you're basically allowing you to put these cards from your bench onto the top of the deck. So your Gyarados with his slashing panic attack can then mill them, which is really, really strong. Next, let's talk about the supports. We're playing 3 copies of Academy of Knights. This deck feels like a modern version of the deck that came out last year, I believe, which was the Slow King deck. The Slow King deck's whole gimmick is like milling the top card of the deck in order to like do big numbers. This deck's whole gimmick is milling the top 7 cards of his deck, and for every one it hits, it does more damage. So think of it as like a really interesting Slow King deck that's doesn't require as much setup, but it has the same mechanics in mind. We're also playing 4 copies of Iona because this card's, you don't want as many of these in hand as possible. Not to mention there's a cool Max Rod play where if you get Max Rod, bring 5 of these in hand, then Iona them all back in the deck, which is really, really strong. We're also playing 4 copies of Professor's Research. Again, we are playing so much recovery in this deck because we're milling their whole deck that Professor's Research is like a gamble card. You do want to resolve it. You just need to keep refreshing your hands. You're playing so many Pokemon that you don't want to see that you just need these to get to your energies. You need these to get to your recovery cards, and it's just a really solid card overall. We're also playing 2 copies of Lana's Aid. This card is absolutely fantastic. Once you get set up, it basically allows you up to add 3 cards from your discard pile back to hand, which is really great because our deck is milling everything. So this card literally reads, add back 3 from grave, which is really, really strong. We're also playing 4 copies of Brock Scouting because Brock Scouting is also just really good. It's basically just a buddy popping for the deck. When you use your lovely Psyducks, you just place 2 more Psyducks into your bench, and then you can just do it all over again, which feels really good. It also can just search out your evolutions like Gyarados, which also feels really, really good. Or it just gets your Magikarps into play. Really, really great card. We're also, of course, playing 4 copies of Buddy Poffin. We're placing a lot of cards into our bench, and then we're shuffling them back. The fact that this can place 2 copies of Psyduck feels really good. The fact that this can place your Magikarp feels really good. Just a really great card in general. Next, for our recovery cards, which we have a lot to talk about. So we already have the 2 Lana's Aid. We're playing 4 copies of Sacred Ash. This card's absolutely incredible. This card used to be a card, but it got rotated out many years ago. It basically says shuffle the top 5, shuffle 5 Pokemon for your discard pile back to the deck, which feels really, really good because we're milling our whole deck. We're kind of just like, have you ever heard of like magical bullets? It's like these are all our bullets and we're reloading them back into the deck in order to be shot out again, which feels really, really fun. We're also playing 4 copies of Night Stretcher to add back anything from our discard pile. We're also playing 2 copies of Rod and the 1 Max Rod. Really, really a shit ton of recovery. Once we get going, we're probably all just set. And this is basically it for the deck. We're also playing, I think, 6 Water Energy, just because we want to see Water Energy. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. Don't do anything stupid. I'll see you on the next one, and bye-bye.